in this video, we're going to be looking at particles called ions. Now, ions are charged atoms, so they can either have a positive or a negative charge. They get their charge by having an unequal number of electrons and protons. So the number of electrons is different to the number of protons. So with positive ions, these ions are called cations, and cations are formed by having fewer electrons than protons, because if we remember, protons have a positive charge and electrons have a negative charge. So if you have more positive charges in the atom, then overall the atom is going to be positively charged. It's the opposite for negative ions. So negative ions are known as anions. And in this case, they have more electrons than they do protons. So they have more negatively charged subatomic particles, meaning that overall the charge will be negative. Now, ions are written to show their overall charge. So we write the chemical symbol of the ion and we write the charge next to it. And we'll have a look at some examples now. In the table, then, we've got an atom or a particle that has 12 protons. And by looking at the periodic table, I know that magnesium is the element that has atoms that have 12 protons in its nucleus, and it has a mass number of 24. To work out neutrons, we do 24 minus 12, mass number minus the atomic number, so it has 12 neutrons. Now, the neutrons aren't going to be very helpful when we're looking at ions because neutrals don't have a charge, they have no overall charge, so they do not contribute to the overall charge of the particle or the atom. Now, when magnesium reacts to form an ion, it loses its 2 outer shell electrons because it's in group 2, so it has 2 outer shell electrons. When it reacts, it loses its outer electrons, therefore it's left with 10 electrons when it forms an ion. So to work out the overall charge of the ion, we take the number of positively charged subatomic particles, so protons, and we add them to the number of the negatively charged subatomic particles, which are electrons. So we've got 12 positives, and we're going to add to that the 10 negatives. So it's essentially 12 minus 10. So overall, the charge for a magnesium ion is 2+, and we write that next to the chemical symbol of the element, so Mg2+. For the second example, we've got an element that contains 9 protons in the nucleus of the atom, and by looking at the periodic table, I know that that is fluorine, and fluorine has a mass number of 19. So to work out the neutrons, it's 19 minus 9, which gives us 10 neutrons. Now, when fluorine reacts to form a fluoride ion, it actually gains an electron this time because it's in group 7, it has 7 electrons in its outer shell. So to become stable, it gains an electron. So this time, in fact, the same as a magnesium ion, it will have 10 electrons. So it will have 1 more electron than protons. So to work out the charge this time, it's protons plus electrons. So we've got +9 for the protons, plus minus 10. So essentially it's 9 minus 10, which gives us an overall charge of 1 minus. So the charge for a fluoride ion is 1 minus, and that's how we would write it as a chemical formula. Thanks for watching. For more chemistry tips and revision, hit subscribe, click on the like button, and check out my Instagram page using the link below.